BWTM Sports Gaming. Glad you could join me once again for another look at lifting the lid, or lifting the covers, or removing the illusion that our lovely boxing media love to give us. Before I begin, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the like button as you start to watch this video. I'm sure for the majority of you, you're going to love this video. The people who won't love this video are the creations of the illusion, which you buy into, or some of you buy into, and then get your hearts broken over and over and over again. I'm going to start this from a personal perspective, and then we'll move into current affairs. Growing up, I had, well, I still have heroes, but in terms of boxing heroes, there were certain fighters that I had. There was Nigel Benn, there was Frank Bruno, there was Gary Mason, who else? Quite a few fighters along the journey of boxing. Oh no, hold on. Sorry about that. And there were many. Oh, by the way, the reason why I've not done chat for this video tonight is because A, I don't want to get distracted, and B, I think it's time for this particular video to go really smoothly because there's a lot of things to think about. So as I keep growing up, there were certain fighters that I backed. Bruno and say Nigel Benn were two of them. Yeah, those are two fighters. And Ben was a good fighter. But my dad would say to me, I remember my first bet was on Nigel Benn to beat Michael Watson. And I remember Nigel Benn, this guy banging everybody out, knocking everybody out. But the fight before he fought Michael Watson, he fought guy Gary Logan, if I'm ready. And Gary Logan was this close to knocking Nigel Benn out. I didn't think anything about it back then. But my dad and his mate would sit down in the front room, and I'd overhear comments. He says, "What do you think of that Nigel Benn?" I'd say, "Oh, he can punch, but he's never been punched back." And the first guy that punched him back almost knocked him out. I said, then the guy said, "What do you think of Michael Watson?" "Yeah, Michael Watson, he's a good boxer, he can box. He's got his cute style, he's got really good boxing fundamentals. Ben just goes out and throws punches." And then one guy said, "Yeah, but Ben can knock Watson out." He says, "Nah, Ben's been knocking out guys that, he's just been knocking guys over that are meant to fall over." The guy said, "What about Watson?" "Ah, yeah, Watson's fought better opposition. He's a good boxer. Do you think he'll beat Ben?" He said, "Oh, yeah, Ben. He'll not be stop Ben." "Why?" "Oh, well, after Ben punches himself out, Watson will knock him out. I'm sure of it." And I'm there going, "Yeah, go on, Nigel. Nigel can do it." I don't know how old I was then, but I remember it was Frisbee Park. I think I told the story before. Anyway, well, lo and behold, Ben goes out there, throws a kitchen sink at Michael Watson, and gets knocked out. Please, while you're in the room, please don't forget to smash the like button. Smash the like button. The more you smash the like button, the more the algorithm recognizes these videos, the more the video gets out there, and more people can see this channel. If you really care. If you don't care, then fine. It's your choice. Anyway, so the moral of the story is, again, Frank Bruno was knocking dudes out left, right, and centre. He was knocking dudes out of left hooks, big right hands, and Frank. And then Frank fought a guy called Jumbo Cummins. I don't know if anyone saw the fight against Jumbo Cummins. Jumbo Cummins hit Bruno with a right hand, yeah. I've never seen somebody get hit with a right hand and do a jig like that and go back to the corner jigging. Bruno was out on his feet. Bruno came back and he beat Jumbo Cummins. And from that point on, my dad was saying, Bruno's chinny. When he gets hit by a real puncher or a real guy, he's going to get knocked out. I never understood what he meant by that. Soon enough, it happened. Bruno was fighting I think he was fighting, well, he might be fighting for the world title against Bone Crusher Smith. And he was battering Bone Crusher Smith until Bone Crusher Smith caught him one of these. It was the end of Frank. Tim Witherspoon, same thing. Loading big shots up on Tim Witherspoon. Witherspoon absorbed it. And the real one landed, stopped Bruno. So I wasn't getting the message what my dad was trying to send me. Gary Mason, 35-0, 32 by KO. Yeah. Came up against Lennox Lewis. What happened? Lennox Lewis closed his eye and more or less retired Gary Mason. There's a trend going on here. Guys that I rated and believed in, and you know, we could go on of guys that have been super hyped up and then got smashed to bits. Smashed to bits. Remember when Bruno fought Tyson the first time, right? And Bruno hit Tyson with that left hook, or that Ray hit him with left hook. Oh, how do you say? What do you say? Oh, he's got him with a right hand. Get in there, Frank. And Tyson looks disturbed. The Harry Carpenter. That round made Frank, because up to that point, no one really hit Tyson back to that point. So when they were doing the rematch between Tyson and Bruno, yeah, Bruno's going, there's no way he's going to beat me. No way. No, listen, he's going to have to need King Kong to beat me, you know. Mike Tyson's trying to make, Don King's trying to make Mike Tyson to be Superman. But I've got kryptonite to beat him. All these things. Bruno. So all this stuff, all this hype building up on the sky. There's no way he's going to beat me. No way. And all these things, you're thinking, yeah, go on, Frank, you can do it. No, Frank never had a cat's hell chance of fighting Mike Tyson. He was scared of Mike. He was crossing his foot. He was like doing this like 14 times, 15 times before he got to the ring. Mike was there, and like the first round, Frank went for it against Mike. He caught Frank caught Mike with punches, but Mike hit him back with some shots as well. Busted his eye up the first round and cut him and stuff. Great first round, exciting. But then he tried to go southpaw against Tyson. You don't want to go southpaw against Tyson, especially when you're not a southpaw. And that was the beginning of the end of Frank Bruno. Tyson became WBC heavyweight champion of the world again. The moral of the story is this. We've recently seen it. We've seen Dave Allen absolutely smash Johnny Fisher, not once, but twice, particularly the second time to bits. We've seen Alexander Usyk take apart Daniel Dubois, the big puncher, this big punching guy who's going to come forward. And we've seen it. We've seen Tyson Fury, who's big, he's tall, he's strong. And then the real one comes along. Now, I'm not saying that Tyson Fury's a fake, or Daniel Dubois. But my point is this. The real one. We're going to talk about the media perception, or the media monster versus the real one. You need to know when you're dealing with a real one. And I'm going to use Dillian Whyte versus Moses Atama as our case study. I may get this completely wrong here, and I'm quite happy to do that, because I think you need to, when you're talking about things, you need to stand on certain principles or beliefs. Just like these media guys stand on these beliefs. These media guys stand on the belief that whoever they promote cannot lose. Whoever they promote, whoever they're selling to you is unbeatable, unstoppable, has a great chin, has great punching power, they've got everything. There's nothing that can beat them. These media monsters, they're unbeaten. But the fact of the matter is, every time a media monster comes against a real one, the real one destroys the media monster each and every time, because the media monster is not based in reality. This is based on promotion, based on what you would like to happen, but you haven't got the facts. You haven't got any concrete evidence as to why you think this monster that you're creating can win a fight. You hope they can win a fight. You pray they can win a fight. You imagine in your mind, and it's like a power of attraction that somehow or the other, even if the guy's not got the skills, you think from a microphone and from lots of TV highlights that somehow by doing that it's going to help the person in the ring. Unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, that's going to get the guy absolutely smashed to bits. Especially when you're trying to throw, you're suggesting, the media, that Dillian White is going into the fire. He's going to Lions Den. It's the toughest challenge of his life, of his career. That's what the media want you to believe. That's what they want to sell you because they're selling an upcoming guy who's the next Mike Tyson. But you know what? Let me tell you something. There was a guy before Moses Atama. His name was AJ Carter, Big Dog. He was a friend of mine. And guess what Big Dog was? He was the second coming of Mike Tyson. He looked a bit like Mike. He was built like Mike, AJ Carter. But the problem was when AJ got hit in the chin, all that Mike Tyson stuff stopped. See, it won't be the first time that somebody who's been the second coming of Mike Tyson in this country get absolutely ironed out. It's not the first time. And there's nothing wrong about getting ironed out or getting done. But when the media have built you up, and he was Derek Williams' fighter, Derek Williams, the heavyweight, the former Commonwealth champion, who fought Lennox Lewis and got absolutely destroyed by Lennox Lewis within 3 rounds. If you see that fight, Lennox Lewis's uppercut was amazing in that fight against Derek Williams. Derek Williams was winning the fight, and Lennox just went, just like Thanos, and that was the end of Derek Williams. Anyway, back to my point. Dillian White's a real one. He is a real one. When you are so caught up with what the media have built up, you forget about the other guy's story. You forget about where that guy's come from. This guy's come from nothing. Nothing's been given to him. Everything he's had, he's built it from ground up. Right? And he's been the underdog for how long in his career? He's just a kickboxer that turned over. A kickboxer first, boxer second. This is the guy who's ironed out, laid Derek Chisora out with one left hook. This is the guy that's beaten Joseph Parker. This is the guy, yeah, he got beat by Tyson Fury, but Tyson Fury is what? Probably the second best heavyweight in the world, arguably. Fury who beat Klitschko and Wilder, two guys who reigned supremely for a long time. One had a record title defenses. One was known as the most dangerous puncher in the heavyweight division until he fought Tyson. Why the hell is Dillian White first of all going to be scared of a guy who's only had 10 fights? But the media are telling you about Moses Atama. But let's even go back a little further. You look at someone like Lomachenko. Lomachenko was Olympic gold medalist and a superstar. And what, in his first or second fight he got beat, did he? Because the guy knew how to get on the inside. Roughed up Lomachenko and beat Lomachenko. The fact of the matter is, upsets happen when media monsters meet real ones. A real one doesn't care what you think of what you think of them. A real one is very confident in what they can do. A real one has been through fire. Do you understand? And when a real one's been through fire, you can't put fire on them. You can't bring fire to a person who's walked through fire. You can't bring fire to somebody who's born in fire. That's like me going to the Human Torch and throwing fire on them. You throw fire on them and they get stronger. They rise like a phoenix. It's the wrong things to be doing. And the media don't get it. And somebody like Turkey Al Sheikh will say, yeah, we want to put Roses Talma in with Usyk. If he's been a guy he's brought into wealth and doesn't understand struggle and doesn't understand the psychological, physical, mental makeup of a guy that has been through the wars, that has had to fight. This is a guy that got knocked out by AJ and got himself back up, joined up with Mark Tibbs, and got to number one in the world. This guy got flattened by Povetkin, got up, and then flattened Povetkin afterwards, after everyone was writing him off. And that's Povetkin. You tell me what everybody has seen in Moses Atalma. Who's he fought and beat that Dillian White can't beat? What has he done that's so fantastic? This is what I'm saying. So you would downrate and you would forget a guy who was only just the other day ranked number one in the world, and then only got beat by the guy who was going on to go on to fight undisputed for Alexander Usyk. A guy who at one point held all the heavyweight belts, bar the WBC, but he's won all the belts, Tyson Fury. Dillian White has beaten Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker's the guy now trying to fight for a world title now. How can we overlook a guy like that? Like, you people can't see that the real one is getting himself into shape. The real one is talking real calm and cool and trying to work his relationships round Frank Warren and put things right and say, I've got to get things right, I've got to get my business right, get myself in. And he's giving himself the best shot possible. But you guys ain't seeing that shit. You guys are still caught up in the media stuff, in the media monster. Because it sells well. Because he looks the part, but he hasn't fought anybody. He hasn't gone past 6 rounds. So this is a guy who's gone 12 rounds multiple times, who has been in with Anthony Joshua, who has been in with Povetkin, who has been in with Joseph Parker, who has been in with Tyson Fury. If you know anything about heavyweight boxing, age is less of a problem for heavyweights. As they get older, they get better, for the majority of them, because they don't have to worry about weight. The only time age is an issue for a heavyweight is obviously if he's been in brutal fights and knocked out, continuously knocked out. There are guys that are dangerous, and Dillian White, whatever you want to say about Dillian White, he is a throwback heavyweight. He's a guy that will fight anybody, anywhere, and those guys are dangerous, particularly guys like that are being underrated or being overlooked. They're the guys that throw left hook out of nowhere and leave a guy flat, like laid flat out. But will Dillian White get his credit for it? No, he won't. He'll be told, the media will flip it and say, it was too soon for Moses Atalma. He wasn't ready yet. We'll rebuild him. He's under Frank Warren. So if he loses, he'll come back again. Just like how they brought back Dubois. When I said to people, Dubois is not ready for Joey Joyce. He's still a boy. He's not a man. And when the going gets tough and he gets pushed, Joyce will be the one on the other end. He's been more mature and will be able to ride out the tough moments. Can Moses Atalma hold a shot first and foremost? Has he got a good chin? Because if he hasn't got a good chin and he gets hit on the chin, he could get knocked out in the first round. Nobody's asking these questions, and they dare not ask these questions because, of course, it's the media monster. The media monster has no weaknesses. The media monster has already gone 12 rounds, even if you've only gone 6. The media monster has the experience of a guy who's got 30 fights when he's only got 10 fights. The media punch monster knocks everybody out. But if you go and look at Moses Atalma's record, he hasn't knocked everybody out. And if you look at the dude he didn't knock out, you think to yourself, okay, hold on. You don't know if he can take a punch. I'm talking about in a ring, not sparring, not amateurs. You don't know how he reacts under the bright lights. You don't know how he reacts when a guy slips his punches and hits him back on the chin. When will you know? When he gets hit on the chin. That's the only time you're going to find out. And boxing's a very funny sport. It's amazing how, I want to know how many of these people in the world that will just get in a car, give their money away, and get in a car without testing if the car starts. And the car can go somewhere. You don't. You test drive it. You see, but you test the car, you look at the engine, Take a good look at it before you buy it. But in boxing, that doesn't work. In boxing, you'll just listen to what the person says. Oh, it's a great car. It can do all these amazing things. Really? Okay, fine. Okay, I believe you. You get in the car and you drive off. Find that your car, the car doesn't even start. The guy's run off with the money. How many times are we going to let this happen over and over again? We're not learning the lessons. And the media people, they're not there to educate you. Well, if you expecting the media to educate you about boxing, think again. They're not there to educate you. They're there to manipulate you to get money out of your pocket to pay to watch these fighters. That's what they're there for. That's what it's called a promoter. To promote. To promote. That's what it is. You all don't want to hear the truth, so you keep on losing money. But it's not the agenda for the media to tell you, well, you know what? Moses Talma hasn't tested. Moses Talma may have a weak chin. Moses Talma might not be great to the body. Moses Talma cannot fight inside. Moses Talma doesn't fight good when he's under pressure. Moses Talma moves back in straight lines and is open to the left hook. Let's not forget Dillian White and his trainer, Buddy McGill. Now, how do you beat a southpaw? You back him up, keep him to ropes, and you beat him up. A southpaw only has an advantage when it's centre of the ring. When their back is against the ropes, there is no advantage. So once you back up, if Moses Talma's back against the ropes, then Dillian White will get inside and rough him up. This could actually be abuse if the fight goes Dillian's way. If he slips and slides, and he gets inside Moses, if he can slip and slide and get inside to Moses Talma and starts working to that body, starts whacking that body up, and then come up through the middle. He hits Moses Talma. It could be the first time Moses Talma gets hit back on the chin by somebody who isn't scared of him or intimidated by him or worried about him, but is actually, so Moses is the fire, and the guy that he's coming up against is a guy that loves fire because he was born in fire. That is dangerous. It's dangerous. And you're putting a boy to do a man's job. He's still a boy. He hasn't got his man strength yet. I don't want to hear the excuses. I don't want to hear the excuses. If he really is the talent that he is, it will show against Dillian White. But if he's not, that's the wrong place to be finding out that you can't take a real punch, that you don't like pressure, that when he gets up close, he's punching you up. It's the wrong place to find out. It's the absolute wrong place to find out. So when all this hype is going about Moses Talma is the future heavyweight division, why is he the future? What has he done? Frank has told you he's the future. Who else has told you he's the future? Obviously, people close to him has told you the future. What are they meant to tell you? What are they meant to tell you? You know, what's he meant to tell you? If those combinations don't work, which he throws over and over and over again, if those combinations don't work against Dillian White, if he's neutralized, if he's shut down from throwing his best punch, that left hand is clearly his best punch. If that left hand is shut down, if Dillian White takes away that left hand of Moses Talma, then what happens? And he starts letting his own left hook off, or he starts letting his right hand off. And it's like catching a Talma, and Talma can't take a punch. What happens? If the guy can't, so we know about Dillian White, we know about his durability. We've seen Dillian White at his best, and we've seen him at his worst. But that guy is proven and tested and tried. What you got here is hope, because you cannot look at Moses Talma's career at this minute in time and say to yourself, yeah, well, it's this fight that makes me believe he beats Dillian White. The Mike Balogun fight. Mike Balogun will never be ranked number one in the heavyweight division. Mike Balogun could never beat Joseph Parker at any point in his career. No. Mike Balogun wouldn't stand toe-to-toe with Anthony Joshua. It just wouldn't. I mean, who those guys that Moses Talma's fought, yeah? How many of those guys you fought there could beat Dillian White? But then let me put those guys in that Dillian White has fought and got beat by. Could Moses Talma beat a Povetkin at that time? I don't think so. Povetkin. Joseph Parker. I just see. Could he have beaten Anthony Joshua? And Dillian White went into that fight injured. I actually don't even think Moses Talma can beat Jermaine Franklin at this point in time. And people don't want to hear this stuff because they're so. A lot of people are so brainwashed. They don't stop and think about these things. This is why upsets keep happening. Media creation, media monster versus a real one. And you have to recognize what a real one is. And you only recognize what a real one is if you're a real one yourself. If you recognize, real recognizes real. Yeah, if you don't know yourself and you don't understand the hard journey people go through, no chance. If you like fake stuff, if you like things without substance, you like shiny things that don't actually bear any substance, you're not going anywhere. You know, why do people love Mike so much? Mike love Mike so much because he's a real one. Mike Tyson's a real one. He says it as he sees it, and he was just a real guy. He was a guy off the street. Mike never tried to be posh. Mike was real. Mike's a real one. Took his lumps, he took his bumps, came back, fought again. Mike's a real one. Dillian White's a real one. Derek Chisora's saying he's a real one, but he didn't want to fight Moses Atalma. And he's War Chisora, and he didn't want nothing to do with Italma. Dillian White's a real one. I don't care what anyone tells me. He's a real one. He don't care. He don't care if he gets bashed up. He don't care. He'll have it. And a guy like that is seriously dangerous against another guy who's trying to learn his trade. Experience. I mean, you got some nice sharp moves there, but what happens when the moves don't pull off? What happens when you start hitting the chin? What happens when he goes to the body? What happens if he makes you miss and makes you pay? What happens if he takes away the left hand? What happens? Is he capable of doing those things? Of course he's capable of doing those things. Of course he's capable. Oh, he didn't look good in his last fight. Evander Holyfield didn't look good in his fight against Bobby Ches. Then you go back and watch Evander Holyfield when he fought Bobby Ches. Then go fight see Evander Holyfield's next fight was against Mike Tyson. Big difference. Big difference. Nobody considers the fact that Dillian White was out for a while, and also don't consider the fact that Dillian White, when he fought this Ebenezer Tete, was not motivated. He was just trying to get himself back in the mix. So you've come from fighting Tyson Fury, getting knocked out by Tyson Fury, to now fighting Ebenezer Tete or Christian Hammer in some back room. Do you know, this is big time boxing. You don't employ the sparring, you don't employ the staff, you don't go through the gears until you know you're meeting fire, or supposed fire. If you listen to the way Dillian White's talking, yeah, well, they think this about him and say that about him. If Dillian knows something about Moses Atalma, if he knows that Atalma's not a real one, he'll find it. If he knows it, if he's seen him, looked into his bare into his soul, and looked at it and said, you know what, I'll have you. I can have you. It's like dogs. Dogs can go up to other dogs and smell dogs, and they know whether to submit or they know whether to dominate. You can just come up to a man, you look at a man, size him up and say, you, okay, all right. And Dillian's not a fool. Dillian manages fighters as well. He's not a fool. So I don't think this is for no. He's getting paid, yeah, but I don't think this is about the payday. I really don't. I think he genuinely thinks he's going to knock Moses Atalma out. I swear. Because real people and real ones don't put themselves in a line of fire like that. They don't. If you're not a real one, if you're fake, you'll avoid real ones. This is a real one. This Dillian White's a real one. I, just because the guy's got a few losses in record doesn't dismiss people after losses. But look who he's lost against. Look who's got beat against. Povetkin, Joshua, Fury. It's not a bad bunch of guys to lose to. So for me, if you're asking me, media monster versus real one, the real one mostly wins. So we'll see. It's not long to go now, and we'll see. We'll see. There's different fighting guys that you expect to knock over, and then fighting guys who are up in your face and look into the window of your soul and ask you the question, do you really want this, mate? You really want this type of pressure? You saw it say, well, I'm going to chase the Mike Tyson record, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's okay to say all those things, but then there's the doing aspect of it. And while all these media things are hyping, blowing smoke up his ass, this guy's still 20 years old. He's old enough to be Dillian White's son. And in that case, this could be a situation of GBH or ABH or AA, aggravated assault. Just going to get paid for it. Daddy beating his son. But that's what it could well end up happening. So, I don't know. In this era, particularly now with so much money around, do people care about people's records being lost? No. It's fast tracking. Because if he beats Dillian White, he gets fast tracked. They're fast tracking Moses Atama. I don't know. If he beats Dillian White, he's a special talent. That's what I think. And he's a real one. And when a real one meets a real one, it's different. But when a media monster meets a real one, be prepared for the equals upset. And media people get upset all the time. It's not an upset. It's not a miscalculation. It's a sense of arrogance, ignorance, lack of research, lack of spotting a real one, and following a script. Remember, with the media people, if they don't follow a script of the promoter, they no longer have a media job. Remember that. When all these people are talking, see who their boss is. Watch their bosses. Watch when they're talking. Who's their bosses? And what's the agenda of those bosses? See what happens when one media person talks out a line about Tyson Fury? Oh, they can't go and see Tyson Fury fight. So they have to be careful what they're saying. And if you're working for Queensborough, you're working for DAZN, you don't need talking against the DAZN fighter, do you? Do that too many times, you get booted out. You're gone. So, just some things for people to think about as I end this video. Love to know your thoughts in the comment section. This is a great time to leave those comments in the comment section because I do read them and I do respond. So don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments, and if you're subscribed, make sure you click that bell to all. This has been BWTM Sports Gaming. Thanks for watching. Take care.